It's no secret that the Jehovah's Witness religion encourages its members, young and old, to put their faith and their ministry first in their lives. But what happens when that's done to the detriment of your hobbies, talents, and even your ability to support yourself? Well, once again, while I stumbled down the rabbit hole of Jehovah's Witness experiences, I found another Reddit post about talents. Shoutouts to Rick Fearon from YouTube for the original post as we dive into Watchtower Muzzled Talents. We would be honored if you would join us. Hello ExJW agents, welcome back to the Darth Magog channel. I'm your host, the Dark Lord of the Apostates, Darth Magog. And today I present to you Ask r/ExJW, did the Watchtower muzzle your talent? Our first submission is from TubeSteak, and it's a tough one to process, even with hyper-threaded octa-core processors. I was guilt-tripped into quitting a very good job in the technology field because the long hours were affecting my field service. And they were, but I had a family to care for, and it paid well. But whatever. I gave in to family and congregation pressure, quit, and took a lesser job. I was still paying the bills, but there was nothing extra. I was broke as hell, but now I was a JW superstar. I conducted the midweek service now that I had time, and I was even used on the convention program, spewing on about how I was able to downsize and a door to greater activity was opened. Then, a few years later, fully PMO by then, I was pulled aside and read a letter that the branch needed people in my former tech field to work remotely. I declined. If I can't get paid for doing work in my field, I sure as hell ain't doing it for free, especially in addition to my current job. Classic Jehovah's Witness pressure. Your talent is only secondary to what you can do for Jehovah, until Jehovah needs you. Then you have to use your God-given talent to serve God. Like, if Jehovah could provide that natural inclination for computer science, why can't he reset his own passwords and upgrade his own servers? Yellow Brick Road sings like an angel, but apparently the devil was in the details. Here's their submission. I won a singing contest at 9 years old that won me a recording contract with a label. My mom had half of the congregation come to watch me sing at the show, and then when I won, wouldn't let me go through with the recording studio because it would sway me from the truth, after making me practice day and night for months. I'm not sure what it is about musicians and Jehovah's Witnesses, but the religion attracts a lot of talented ones. Michael Jackson, Selena Quintanilla, and even Prince. I'd imagine it has something to do with the constant practice we get from singing those kingdom melodies out of the old brown songbook. Ironic that a central part of worship can't be monetized so that someone can continue serving without any anxiety about money. You figure it would benefit the organization, but the only artist that Watchtower likes is a starving one. Faye Queen describes a generational curse placed on their family by the witnesses. I was a ballet dancer, was forced to quit. I wouldn't have been anything famous, but I wanted to go to New York City and dance in the Broadway shows that had ballerinas. I lament more for my mother. I know half her mental health struggle was her not being allowed to be herself. She's an incredible singer. She's so incredibly talented. She could have easily been on Broadway, or her band could have definitely been something. She's just so amazing. Even if all she did was perform theater, it would have made her so much more of a happy person. This doesn't seem like it would have been such a harmful thing. A little recreational singing in a theater probably wouldn't have hurt anyone. But leave it to the Christian congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses to make someone quit dancing. What fascinates me is that the congregation went out of its way to bully 2 generations of members out of things they were clearly passionate about, meaning this has been a consistent pattern for decades. Halfway point on the list, and we have a long and brutal one from a former pioneer that gave up a scholarship to continue full-time ministry. Gave up full scholarship for engineering. Yes, and at the time I was bullied to make pioneering and full-time service my career. Elders, parents, other JW my age, etc. love-bombed. I kept asking, how can you say pioneering and full-time service is a career when you don't get paid for it? Answers. Elders during shepherding called. Everlasting life is our payment. What can compare to that? What employer can offer perfect health, free food, housing, and endless life? You cannot slave for God and riches, and when you have a job, you become the employer's slave. We just work out of necessity to cover our living expenses while in the world, but remain no part of the world. From parents. If you go to college, you will leave Jehovah. You will be all alone, away from your friends and family, and will be in danger. Working as an engineer in this world is helping Satan. Jehovah, by his Holy Spirit, can empower you to be the best engineer in the new world. You don't need to go to college. Besides, you won't just be taking engineering classes, they make you take other subjects. From peers. The friends let you stay for free in their homes when you travel for Kingdom Hall construction or serving where the need is greater. You can have fun traveling and not worry about money since Jehovah always provides. Seriously, these were the answers to my question, and the bullying was real because if I took the scholarship and went to college, I chose Satan over Jehovah, and I basically disfellowshipped myself. I did get my bachelor's later in life secretly once I got married. It sure made a big difference in my job opportunities and finances. It was one of the best decisions I ever made next to leaving this religion. Number one best decision is who I married. A brother that was not a CEO or an elder, just a really nice person. Everyone shunned us and the elders treated us like ish, and wrote ish in our letters so every other congregation we moved to treated us like ish. We worked temporarily at Bethel, regular pioneered. He became a ministerial servant after all the games the elders played, and he walked away from it 2 years later. My family lied and called the police on us multiple times. Crazy shit. Dependency. This former pioneer was being sold dependency as an answer to how you can maintain a full-time career in volunteer work. A never-ending volunteer work which demands full-time hours of watching carts during the week, writing letters and emails, and putting in weekend door-to-door sales. And that's before the obligatory after-hours meetings 3 days out of the week, 4 back in my day, all to be dependent on the kindness of others who, frankly, most likely, didn't have much to offer because they were also in similar positions. Music remains popular as yet another witness is given a sour note by the organization. Yep, I was a professional musician. At 20 I was signed to Sony. I was then asked by an elder if my band was in any way a detriment to my ministry. I walked away from everything. I should have asked him if his job was in any way interfering with his ministry. Everyone needs a job, and that was mine. The hypocrisy is on full display. Everyone needs a job until it interferes with their ministry. But not everyone's job is interfering? I wonder how the elder was getting by. Our next poster had a talent that, depending on how much they practiced, could have possibly changed their life for good. Gave up a football scholarship because my mother told me I should use that energy to pioneer and my dumbass had to please everyone but myself. Such stupidity. Now HP, I know I said this in the thread, but I have to reiterate this. No stupidity, not on your part, HP. You were a child who was misled by a parent who wanted the best for you, a parent that was ill-informed and also misled. Don't put it on yourself. The adults in our lives aren't perfect, but they're supposed to help guide us and put our best interests first. The adults in your life, and in the lives of everyone else in this video who had their talents silenced as a child, failed you. You were instilled with values that made you trust them unquestionably from the second you could crawl, sometimes even before them. This is not your fault, period. I've nearly written myself into a corner with these submissions, but I figured I'd squeeze this story into the margins. Talented writer, so my teacher said. Also, username was chosen for me by Reddit, but I had to chuckle. Autistic. Love design. Gave up scholarship to pioneer. I remember the day I was out in service. I had just graduated high school, was dragging my feet about becoming a pioneer, and a sister literally shamed me while at the door of a stranger so that I burst into tears. The next week I put in to pioneer because I felt so guilty, and there went my dreams. I also want to say most miserable 4 years of pioneering, so depressed, always sick. But since leaving as a woman in her 40s, I've completely changed my life. Divorced, live with my wonderful partner, have gained both my adult children, went back to school, decorated everyone's Christmas trees like they're in a window on 5th Avenue. Continue to take courses and grow in my hobbies and career. It's never too late to start again. I'm 50, now happy and at peace. There are two stories here that really made me feel feelings. Aside from the musical ones, as I gave up jazz band ambitions at the behest of my parents, I love two other things: martial arts and writing. I even wrote some Peter Jacksonian quasi-martial arts epics that I wanted to publish, but disclosing any of these passions immediately drew ire from the congregation. I had been told my writing had a lot of voice, which I understand was a unique innate talent to have as a small child, but I never got to cultivate that, since any writing help I'd get would be through the Holy Spirit at Bethel, if Jehovah found me worthy. I'm right there with you, Stunning. Solidarity, my friend. And for our final submission, we have Bach and Beethoven. So many missed opportunities, they are too numerous to count. I was a really talented classical musician and actress, and my teachers were so adamant I pursue higher education. In fact, at school, I was voted the most likely student to get the first PhD in our year. Anyway, the Borg intervened and quashed formal education opportunities, but thanks to my teachers, I gained a moderate qualification which has enabled me to earn a living as a teacher. After I left this cult, I pursued acting and music again. Too many years have passed to allow me to fully explore all the possibilities that I should have in my youth. But I am grateful that at the age of 60, I am now enrolled in a master's program at a prestigious university. And so at least one of my goals will be achieved before I die. As much as it hurts that I wasn't able to fulfill my potential, I am so grateful that the opportunity to pursue one of my goals still exists. To any whose dreams were snatched away from them by this organization, I say, keep your goals and dreams in focus. Maybe one day. It warms my cold cyborg heart to hear a happy ending to one of these stories for once. And it's what encouraged me to pick this channel back up, frankly. Just feeling like I could still do this, even in my mid-30s when most people would assume it's far too late to do so. Feels satisfying to know that Watchtower crumbled against the weight of someone else's agenda instead of the other way around. And that's it for now. There are more experiences in the original thread. I'll of course link the Reddit post in the description box below. While you're in the neighborhood, tell us about your talents that were silenced by Watchtower, the ExJW, and their well-meaning members. If you're in the position, of course. PMOs and Faders should always be cautious on social media. If you enjoyed today's Reddit review and found it informative, I'd appreciate a like. And it would be an honor if you would join us as a subscriber if you value future videos. Remember, ExJW agents, the elders may be watching you, but Darth Magog is watching the Watchtower.